Welcome to episode 26 of the Shamrock Green Room, your favorite podcast highlighting everything about Scotus Central Catholic and Columbus Catholic schools. Each episode, we discuss what it's like to be a Shamrock. Whether that is a current student, a teacher, an alum, or supporter, we want to hear your stories on why this is such a special place in education. I'm your host, Jon Brezenski, 1998 graduate. Today, I'm joined by Jane Dusel-Misfeldt. Jane has been a teacher and staff member at Scotus since 1992. If you have listened to former episodes with students, she has been mentioned as one of the most influential teachers who have impacted many students here at Scotus during her tenure. I'm excited to share her story today as a Shamrock teacher and coach. Jane, welcome to the Shamrock Green Room. I don't know if I've ever called you Jane. I think it's always been Miss Dusel-Misfeldt. I think that might be the first time I ever said Jane.
It's okay, you're graduated.
Huh? I know, but I don't know. That's just, I was looking at that. You came in the fall of 92. That was my 7th grade year as well. That was your first year here.
Yep.
So time flies.
Yes. We started it together then.
Well, I mean, this is going to be great because, like I said, we've had former students on here, and almost all of them have mentioned you of some, having some sort of positive impact. And obviously, you impacted me. I'm in the medical field, but so your impact on students goes a long way. Probably something like we talked about on Friday last week when we saw each other. You probably don't really think about it too much, I guess.
No, honestly, I don't. It's I love seeing my students, former students, do well. I always think if they are productive members of society, that's all I can ask for, even if they were kind of a pain in high school. If they figured it out, that's all I can ask for.
Sure. Well, I remember chemistry as being probably one of the most challenging classes just because there was just a lot of stuff, but it was good stuff. You're a great teacher, so I'm excited to talk with you today.
Good to be here.
Yeah. Well, let's get right into it. Let's talk about your family growing up. You went to high school in Madison, but just kind of share that story.
My parents are Dennis and Jeanette Dusel. I grew up on a farm about 30 miles south of Columbus, but I didn't go to Columbus very much growing up. We went to Madison and Norfolk, kind of that direction, so I wasn't all that familiar with Columbus. My mom has since passed away, but my dad still lives on the family farm. Growing up, I was a farm kid. It was milk cows, cattle, chicken, hogs, a dog, a few cats. Some came, some went. But that was my growing up. Got rid of the milk cows. Thankfully, I hated them.
That obviously, or probably early morning chores, getting all that.
Oh, yeah.
All the I don't want to say stereotypes, but I guess what everybody probably pictures, that's what you grew up doing, huh?
That's what I grew up doing. We were 10 miles from Madison, 10 miles from Humphrey, 10 miles from Lee, pretty much.
So were you northeast of Madison or?
South would be south.
I'm sorry, southeast of Madison.
Southeast of Madison.
Kind of in a little triangle there that you talk about there.
Yeah, if you know where Creston, Nebraska is, a little tiny town, to about 3 miles straight north on a gravel road of Creston.
Oh, okay.
I mean, almost straight north, follow the Monastery Road.
Yeah.
And you're going to get there off a mile.
And then you went to Madison High School?
Yeah,
How far of a drive was that?
10 miles.
Oh, not as bad as I
But
thought.
We were in the corner of the Madison, Platte, Stanton trio of counties. Okay. It's to the south of my parents' farm. And we were in the Madison County district.
That makes sense.
And so there was a bus service at the time.
Okay.
So it was, you're going where the bus is going.
Sure.
So you didn't have to drive.
Yeah.
Rode the bus to and from school every day unless I had an event that I had to not ride the bus for.
Yeah.
Because the bus didn't go that way.
So all that stuff, you grew up doing that. Family. So your mom passed away. Dad's still living on the family farm then, huh?
Yep. Still farming. My nephew and his wife are trying to get into the farm and helping Dad farm. And it's fun to see all of that.
Yeah.
Kind of potentially keep going.
Yeah.
But Dad's 83 and still getting in the tractor, still getting in the combine, so it's all good.
When when did your mom pass away?
Mom passed away in 2008.
Okay.
So we've been missing her for a while now. But big influence, and my mom was the home mom, and so she was kind of the rock.
Yeah.
So you figure out how to make it work.
It doesn't get easier, I know. I mean, with Christy and her mom, I know. I mean, that's it just doesn't get easier. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, then let's talk about your sisters.
I am the third of 4 girls.
Okay.
And when psychology always says, "Where are you in the family? What place are you?" I'm number 3, but I'm the displaced youngest is how I've described myself. I've often had people scrunch their head. But I was the youngest till I was 15.
Oh, okay.
And then my younger sister was born.
Ah,
So I have 2 older sisters and then a younger sister.
okay.
So she's kind of only child.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
you're kind of like the youngest for a long time, and then
Yes.
obviously then get your sister. Yeah.
Yes. So I have my oldest sister is Kathy Podliska, who media specialist here at
Yeah.
Scotus. People would know her by.
Mm-hmm.
She's been here 2 years longer than me. My other older sister, Carol, and her family have lived in Bennington.
Okay.
Her kids are grown, so out of there now. And my younger sister lives in Lincoln with her family and her 7 children.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yes. Yes. Kathy
Yeah.
has 4, Carol has 2, and my younger sister Jody has 7.
Wow. And where do they go to Pius, or where do they go to school at?
They homeschool.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep, she
Interesting.
homeschools them. And the oldest just graduated last year. He's going to be a freshman at UNL.
Okay.
And the youngest, let's see, he's not 1 yet. So,
Wow, that's quite a gap there as well.
oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
all sorts of them. It's fun family fun.
So your youngest sister, I mean, did she go into education as well, like through college?
She is through her degree. She's a social. Oh gosh, I don't want to say sociologist. That's not right. Oh, social worker. I'll get
Okay.
it there eventually.
Okay.
She's social worker by education.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's also done some work in teaching some graduate classes online at college, that kind of thing, on top of trying to homeschool her children.
Have they always homeschooled, or?
They started homeschooling with COVID.
Okay, yeah, and they just kind of it worked.
Yep, and
stayed
it
with
worked for them, so that's what they kept doing.
Oh, there we go. So you mentioned here in our pre discussion, you went to St. Leonard's Grade School in Madison, and you graduated from Madison. Can I ask you what year you graduated?
I graduated in 1986,
Okay,
Madison High School.
there you go. A dragon.
A dragon.
What did you play sports up in high school, or what were you involved with in high school in Madison?
Well, I was at the time they had pep club.
Mm-hmm.
I was a cheerleader my freshman year and decided no. But they had pep club where you could ride the bus to events and cheer and all that kind of stuff. So I was in that. My only sport was volleyball. Loved volleyball. Mostly because Dad said you get one sport.
Yeah,
because
wow.
during your sport, you couldn't ride the bus.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to drive. And so, finances were never, there was never a lot of money going around. So it was, if you could ride the bus instead of driving, that was what you did at the time.
Yep.
So he said, if you want to choose one, choose one.
Well, there you go. I know
And-
you love your love for volleyball. We'll talk about here. We'll talk
Yes.
about this. So I guess another question. So Mr. Brockhouse graduated from Madison. Were you guys there about the same? He's a couple years older than you, right? In terms of school.
Well, the Brockhouse brothers, I call them, would be Pat and then his younger brother Mike.
Mm-hmm.
We went to St. Leonard's to grade school, and in St. Leonard's there were 2 grades in a room.
Oh.
So first and second, third and fourth, etc. And so Pat was a year older than me,
Okay.
and his brother Mike was a year younger than me.
Oh, so you always went with one.
I was always in a room with one of the Brockhouse brothers. I mean, he has more in his family than that, but those 2 boys were always,
in your
always
class.
around.
Isn't
and-
that something like just little like?
yes.
And then you both have been longtime teachers here at Scotus, and you came here roughly about. I think you came.
We
a year
came here-
before. Did you come the same year?
We came the same year.
Okay, so you guys did come the same year.
Yep, we came the
Okay.
same year. We both graduated from Wayne State at different times, but graduated from Wayne State. So, and his parents and mine were good friends growing up too. So,
Wow, how ironic.
know.
Well, let's talk about John, your husband John. Let's talk about him.
okay. Well, John and I, kind of they say met a little later in life. Didn't have it figured out for a while, I guess. But after we had both been in Columbus for a few years, I can't remember even how long we'd both been here, but we met, and I credit Gary Luxinger, or not, but he kind of introduced us. And so Gary was a good friend of mine from the very beginning. We coached together here at Scotus. From the moment I came to Scotus, I was coaching with him. And so he and I don't know, got along really well, and he introduced us, and John and I have been married now, as of July, 28 years.
Wow.
So,
No, and he's long time. He was in involved in Columbus High Athletic Administration, right? For several years. Now he's retired, is that right?
Well, he's retired from there.
Okay.
I mean, so when I met him, he was the sports editor at the Telegram.
Yep.
So some people know him as John Ryan.
Correct. Yep.
And he went from there to Wayne State College. He did some coaching up there for a while. And then he came back and got the job at Columbus High, assistant athletic director. Mm-hmm. So he officially retired from that job, but now has the job as liturgist, activities coordinator at St. Bon's.
Oh, so he's running the music and all that stuff.
Assistant to the priests.
Okay. All
of that kind of stuff. You walk in the rectory, he'll be the first. Typically the first face that you see unless he's gone that day.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, let's see, this is his third year, finished 3 years at St. Bon's now. So he's enjoyed that for the most part, too, just something different. He says, it's the same but different.
Yeah. Well, he's a good singer, though.
Absolutely.
When we go to church at Bonds and he sings, he does a great job.
Absolutely.
He
loves
really
the
does.
Singing, loves to cantor, loves to be with the men's choir. Mm-hmm. One of the things I had to learn when I met him is that he's just going to break into song at some time.
Oh, really?
Unknown. Oh, absolutely, yes. And I love hearing his voice.
Yeah, he does have good voice.
I've grown to love it and appreciate. I know he's kind of in a good mood if he's kind of singing something or whistling something. Mm-hmm. While he does something else, that's usually a good sign.
And if you can't find him at Bonds, then he's probably at Quail.
Oh, absolutely, right? Yes. And as often as he can, he's at Quail Run or somewhere else golfing. Mm-hmm. That's a passion of his. And I didn't appreciate it very much when I first met him because I didn't know golf. Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up knowing golf at all. Now I know all the rules and lots of other stuff, and I tell him he makes up words about golf. But I learned those too. And so he even got me to golf for the first time this last summer. I've golfed now, officially paid for golfing 9 holes 4 times.
You just started too?
I just started this year.
Well, great. Christy, if you're listening to this, there's hope. There's hope for us to golf together sometime. She doesn't golf.
Oh, I really didn't either, but I've ridden with him so many times.
Yeah.
We go on vacation and he golfs, and I ride along. The golf courses are beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
I love being outside in nature and that kind of thing. So when we go on vacation, there's usually golf involved somewhere, and I don't know. We'll see if I ever pay a lot of money to golf somewhere else because I am definitely not good at all.
Well, you could trick him into taking him to like a really expensive trip that has a really nice golf course, and it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Believe me, there's always those conversations about what's it going to cost us to golf when we go here.
Yeah, that's part of the budget.
It is part of the budget.
All right. Well, what got you into teaching? What led you into teaching after you graduate from Madison? You go to Wayne. What was the evolution into getting into teaching?
Well, I started as a pre-chiropractic major. I hadn't even thought about teaching, honestly. Mm-hmm. My high school chemistry teacher, I tried to be as little like him as possible because I didn't, appreciate my teachers apparently as much as I could have. Mm-hmm. But I thought, okay, I like science. This is good. I'll try pre-chiropractic and see how that goes. Halfway through my sophomore year, I was like, I don't think this pre-stuff is going to be me, really. Now what do I do? And so I didn't have a major for most of a semester. I mean, I kind of kept the pre-chiropractic, but knew I wasn't going to keep
just
that.
Just kind of with those classes.
Yeah.
You're already in that track.
Correct. And then, but I kind of backed off a little bit of the science because I kind of got overwhelmed. I took too many science classes in one semester, and I was like, oh, wow, this is too much. And about then, the head of the chemistry department said, would you think about being the tutor? Our tutor's graduating. Would you be the chemistry tutor? And I'm like, what does it pay?
Yeah, well, rightfully so.
And he's like, oh, yeah, you get your room paid for and your meals paid for. I'm like, score.
Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Yep.
So I started tutoring, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, maybe I should teach. I think I had another one of the teachers said, have you thought about going into teaching? No. All right, so I started taking some education classes, and it just kind of went from there.
Well, it's worked out really well.
It has worked out really well, honestly.
So you get into teaching, you get your degree, and then you end up. What year did you graduate from Wayne then?
I took an extra semester because I kind of changed my major. So I graduated in December of 1990.
Okay.
And then in the spring of would be 91, I did my student teaching in Fremont. So I just stayed in Fremont and I subbed. And I had another part-time job, just to kind of get me by. Mm-hmm. And the subbing was great. It taught me so much about the discipline of a classroom. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to worry so much about lesson planning or that kind of thing. It was what's going to be the fit for me, mm-hmm. which is an evolution of any teacher. Yeah. Is figuring out how you're going to get kids to respond to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then I got a job in the fall of 91 I was part-time at Exeter and part-time at Friend. I ended up living in Exeter, and I did chemistry and physical science at Exeter in the morning, drove to Friend, did chemistry and physical science in Friend.
So you were employed by both school districts?
I was employed by both school districts. They weren't co-opted or anything, but they were 7 miles apart.
Okay.
And they were really starting to work together, small schools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exeter, because is it Exeter Milligan Friend is one school now, I think?
No, I think Friend is separate, yes.
They're still by themselves?
I think they're by themselves yet.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that, the consolidation.
Yeah.
I kind of lose track.
Yeah, there is a lot that's interesting. I didn't know that so that's kind of unique that you're employed by two different districts, but I mean, obviously they worked in the schedule, so it worked out really good.
Yeah. I mean, I ate my lunch in my car on the way every day, but it was what it was, and it worked out, and I was just glad to be. At the time, it was like, I'm just glad to kind of have full-time.
Have a job.
Between the two schools, full-time employment to get my feet wet in the teaching area.
So you were there for 1 year, and then you end up coming to Scotus because you were here in the fall of 92. So how did you get here?
Well, I don't know that I was really necessarily looking so much, but Kathy Podliska had been here for 2 years. And she knew I was teaching chemistry kind of at two places and thought, well, maybe I want to teach at one instead. Mm-hmm. A little closer back to home. Not that I needed to be, but closer to my family a little bit. And so she said, hey, there's an opening for chemistry. The chemistry teacher was leaving. Do you want to apply? And I'm like, sure. Mm-hmm. So apply, and here I am.
Get hired. And you've been in that, I mean, obviously that's the chemistry room.
It is.
The same room since the school was built, or since that wing was built, right?
No.
No?
No, the chemistry room, if you look at it, you can kind of tell where it used to be two rooms. When it was first built, I'm not even sure what rooms it was when it was first built. Mm-hmm. But in 65, I think John Sheath told me, then that's when it got made into officially the science wing.
Yeah, and I've seen that in your books in the past around that time, just looking up different things. But I guess I thought the original chemistry building but the original chemistry room is in that room or not?
I'm not sure where the original chemistry room was before this one. I honestly, I'd have to see if John's kind of our historian there.
That's good history that we'll look up. Well, that's the room you've been in.
That's the only room I've been in. It's a humongous room. I say smallest teacher gets the biggest room.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, but it's, but for all the things that you do, I mean, obviously everybody remembers the labs and the lectures. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff, and moving back and forth between sometimes, lecture lab or just kind of getting things around. I mean, it just kind of works out pretty good though. Correct.
When you were there, it would have, I think, there would have been desks on the west side of my classroom, and you would have sat in the desks. The only time we went to the lab stations was to do a lab, and we kind of just left everything and went over there. When they decided they wanted computers in all of our classrooms, we were like, okay, where are we going to put them? Mm-hmm. And so that was when the change got made to, hey, let's make lab stations into desks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so I changed from my whiteboard on the west side of my room. It was a chalkboard at the time, not whiteboards. Yep. But there was already a chalkboard on the north side. And then it evolved from chalkboard to whiteboard. And that became kind of, I guess, the front, where I would write on the board.
Teaching now.
Yes.
Yeah. I think everybody would remember those. Everybody just kind of remember, like when you were in school, you kind of remember where you sit. Like I usually sat second row, second seat.
Yep.
It just kind of worked out that way.
Yeah.
Well, so you come here in 92. Who are some of the, because you end up teaching with some great teachers.
Absolutely.
The era that I was here, and blessed with so many great teachers. You teach with a lot of them for so many years. Kind of who really made a strong impact on you? Maybe he'll kind of, hey, this is, you want to do things your own way as a teacher, but you also kind of understand maybe how things work. Like, who helped you in that transition?
Well, 3 names. 2 really right off the top. I couldn't be who I am without them, and the first one is Vern Younger. Mm-hmm. He taught biology across the hall from me, and he was not officially my mentor, but I truly consider whether he considers that or not. But I truly do. I learned so much from him. I would talk to him about these things and how should I do this and this is happening. And, he would just give me some ideas and say, hey, this is what works for me. You got to try what works for you. Mm-hmm. But just, I think and I hope that I picked up a lot of his good characteristics as a teacher, as a mentor to other teachers, all of those kinds of things, as a coach even, because he was coaching for a lot of years at the time. Yeah. And so Vern's big name right up there as far
Absolutely.
As I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Second one for me, especially in the coaching realm, was John Peterson, but excellent teacher. I learned a lot from him also in both realms. Both Vern and John kind of took me in as a new teacher. I had taught a year, but you're still a newbie for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. You're still learning. I'm still learning, for heaven's sakes. But John, I started coaching volleyball with him. He just said, hey, you want to coach volleyball? I'm like, sure. So I was an assistant 7th grade coach when I first started. And, I remember that even that first summer after I was hired, he's like, okay, we're having camp in July. Come to camp, sweat with us. Okay. Yeah. In the unair-conditioned gym.
Time, yeah. Oh, brutal.
At the time.
Could you imagine being in there now without?
Oh, no.
That's brutal right now.
Absolutely. And it was, but the whole school was that way.
The whole school is like heat. I talk about that. We had heat schedule. What is heat schedule? I was like, well, when it was super hot, we started at like 7:30 and we were out at like 2 something.
Yeah, it was
1:43 or something like that.
Yep, it was 7:45 to 1.
Like 43.
Yep,
it was some weird
number.
Yeah,
yes, agreed.
Yeah. But then we would eventually go to practice anyway. In the
yes.
heat. It was like whatever. But.
Yes, exactly. The third name, kind of names that I have to mention, would Gary Pitts. Mm-hmm. Gary could come off as kind of a gruff personality. So could Vern. Have to say I was kind of scared a little bit of Vern and John and Gary. And when I first got here, they're so welcoming. Yeah. And anything that I wanted to help with or they come ask you, would you be a part of this? Mm-hmm. Sure, I'm a new teacher. Why not? Let me, get involved in some things.
I think Gary is really good about that with new teachers, about
getting
them involved, because it was just a way for teachers to get involved in the community. Obviously, you're around the kids; they get to know you, and then it just kind of evolves over time. But Gary, that was one of his strengths for sure, was getting new teachers involved, and if they wanted to coach, great. It was a great way for him. If they didn't, he still found ways to get involved in other things.
Oh, exactly. I started coaching 7th grade, but then, John and Gary came to me and said, "Hey, would you do the varsity book?" Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to do volleyball book. Mm-hmm. When you play, you don't necessarily know how to do the book. Yeah. And so I said, well, sure, teach me. Okay, here's the first varsity tournament. You do this, this, and this, and figure it out.
Do you still do the book?
I do.
Yeah, wow.
I'll have to ask Joe if he wants me to do it this year, but I'm guessing.
I assume so.
I only do home ones. I used to travel, road trip, the whole bit. Mm-hmm. That's kind of gotten to be a little far and a little much, trying to teach the next day for me. But, yeah, I enjoy it. It's a, good front row seat to volleyball games at home and still around the game. And so, yeah, I'm still doing that.
And how's it been teaching with your sister? Because you guys have both been here for quite some time. That's pretty remarkable.
It really is. Jim and Gary were here. I don't know how many years they were here together, but they were here.
Well, Jim came in 67 and Gary came in, 75. So I think they taught together for a long time as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Kathy was here 2 years before me. And this is starting year 34 for me, so 36 for her. She is, I believe, unless I have it wrong, I think she's the most senior, we'll call her that, or seasoned.
Yeah, most tenured staff member.
Yes, on the staff at this point.
Wow.
And so it's truly been a blessing. I mean, Kathy and I did not get along very well when we were growing up.
And so is Kathy the oldest? She's the oldest.
Kathy's the oldest.
Right. And at that time, you were the youngest.
Yes,
for a long time. For a
long time, I was the youngest.
Kind of in those adolescent years and growth years. Yeah.
Yes, we didn't always get along so well. Once we started teaching here together, it was a matter of I had to go to her also, mentor. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm going to my sister for things. Yeah. And it just kind of built our relationship together better. Even to be able to talk about our faith more and grow in our faith together. It's
pretty awesome.
Been an awesome journey for us. Yeah. And we went to lunch. Kind of our second day back, we could, go out to lunch, and third day we got to go to lunch, and I said, I'm just so glad to be back with you again. I mean, I don't even see her that much in the summer.
Yeah. Well, just life gets busy. I mean, you guys doing your thing, she's doing her thing. I mean, my parents live in town. I don't see them as much as you want to. It's sad to say, and I got to do a better job of that, but then life just gets busy.
Yes. So I can, knowing that, hey, we can catch up with each other maybe after school a little bit, or I have to go down and make copies in the library and talk to her during my plan period, or, something like that. It's just huge blessing, all the way around. Yeah. I've learned a lot from her in teaching, in faith, in all sorts of discipline of kids, because she was teaching here before she became the media specialist. So
she was a keyboarding teacher. I think she was my keyboarding teacher.
Yep.
Is that right?
She taught business classes, I know here.
Class, yeah. Yep. I know I had her as a teacher before she transitioned over to the media center.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you were involved in some. You started coaching junior high volleyball. You also coached junior high track. I want to talk about junior high track. I want to talk about this. We talked about this Friday when I saw you, but I want to talk about this because parents don't understand how nor do the kids, how early junior high track practice used to be. It was way different back then. So let's talk about, because they get up early morning. I was just talking to my daughter Aubrey about this because they start volleyball practice tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Chrissy's coaching. So the junior high girls, for example, when volleyball starts, they're up. They're the first people in the gym.
Yep.
Then basketball. Then that's done. Then they start junior high basketball. Guess what? I said, Aubrey, you're not going to sleep in until after Christmas time.
Nope.
Okay? That's just the way it is. Well, I didn't tell her. I said, well, back when I was in school,
junior high
track was at 6 in the morning or whatever. 6 in the morning. Right?
It was at 6 in the morning.
It was early.
Yep. We met at the track.
Yes.
And parents had to drop their kids off at the track by 6.
Yes.
We would start practice at 6:07 or 6:0, some weird number that we chose to be able to start practice by.
Yep. And so you were coaching.
In the spring, it's still dark then.
Yes, it was dark. Well, I will tell this story because my class was involved with this because it was your first year. But I remember, so you take your 2 laps, and we're practicing, and it's pitch dark still, so you can't see anybody. But all of a sudden, some people aren't there. Mm-hmm. And I know they were hiding behind the long jump or the pit. So the pits obviously were on the track.
Correct.
The pit mats, I should say, the jump pit mats were on the track, and you could kind of snuggle and hide in between them, and
especially on a cold morning.
On a cold morning, it happened. It happened a few times. But I guess what do you remember about some of those early mornings? Because you coached junior high track for how long?
I coached for 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I was assistant. I think my first 2, and then was head the third or assistant 1, and head. I don't remember honestly.
Yeah. I know Miss Blau. So it was you and Miss Blauser. I remember. I think Mrs. Tooley might have helped. Junior high, I can't remember. I know you and Mrs. Blauser for sure because Miss Blauser jumps.
I think Janet was before. Maybe it was my first year, but she was before that even. Mm-hmm. That she coached because she was here before I was, as was Mrs. Blauser. But oh gosh, the things that I remember most are trying to keep track of 80 kids.
Yeah.
In the dark. Some mornings in the fog.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're trying to run 200s. Mm-hmm. Okay, you've got to be able to listen for a whistle to even know to start that 200 because you can't see them.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you weren't turning the lights on in the stadium.
Nope.
Everybody thinks, turn the lights on.
Cost too much money.
Cost too much money. You couldn't turn the lights on. The city wouldn't let you turn the lights on. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't practice after school because at the time, Columbus High, Scotus, everybody's practicing there, and there's wasn't room.
Yeah. So
unless you wanted to practice at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, it was every junior high you were practicing in the morning.
Lots of morning runs, lots of morning breakfast left on the track again. I know I did that a few times.
Oh, I remember that Then it would be a bus. Somebody was driving the bus to pick all the kids up after practice. So parents dropped them off. Bus would drive them back. They'd have to shower and change and be ready for school we started school like at 8.
8:04.
There you go. I'm glad you remember the number.
Yeah.
But I remember because we would drive, so then I had to drive back and change and grab a bite to eat and, be in my classroom. And we weren't done with practice till 7:30.
Yeah.
So you had to be quick.
It was fast, yeah. But I thought junior high track was fun. It was a good time.
It was, but the track has never been my thing. I'm kind of a fair weather outdoor fan, and so it's like, it wasn't my thing. I stayed with it for about 3 years. Yeah. And for a few years there, I coached junior high volleyball, then I coached junior high basketball, then I coached junior high track.
So you were doing all three.
I did all three. I didn't do boys, so I did have kind of that boys season because girls basketball.
Yeah, you had a little bit of a break. Yep.
Yeah, kind of in the heat of winter or the cold of winter, I didn't have to.
Didn't have to get up early.
Didn't have to be doing that so much, but then it got to be, I'm really not a morning person. I have tried. As long as I coached volleyball, you would think I'd turn into a morning person, but that 4:30 or 5 o'clock alarm is just not my thing.
Yeah. Well, so you kind of transition out of junior high basketball and volleyball, but then junior high basketball and track, but then you stay with volleyball for a long time.
I did.
mean, you're part of a staff that's pretty remarkable.
We stayed together a long time, and part of it we said was we just had fun together. It was John Peterson and Janet Tooley and Julie Blaser and Gary Luxinger and I. I mean, there were some other coaches. I know I'm missing a few names in the middle of there, but that was kind of the core, I would call it, of we went to tournaments weekends, we went to home and away games together. We were the traveling squad. Yeah. And we talked a lot of volleyball, but oh my goodness, we laughed and we told stories and just outside of the volleyball realm, just enjoyed each other's company so much that we just kind of, it was the team, and when the retirements came, it was like, oh, okay, things are different. Yeah. Not necessarily bad, just different. Yeah. I ended up staying with coaching for 28 years, and my 28th year, it's time. Yeah. I had thought about it before then, and unbeknownst to either one of us, Gary Luxinger and I kind of both told each other we were giving it up the same year.
Really? Without really talking about it?
Correct. Yeah. So it was like he told me first, and then I told him, he's like, well, you can't. I said,
well, you can't either then.
You can't either then.
Yeah. We've
been in this together for so long, but it was just a good, fun combination. But it was, they say when you'll know when it's time to retire from whatever. Yeah. And so far that's been right for me.
Yeah. It might, maybe a little bit of you missed it early, but now it's kind of like,
I've missed it. I miss the thing that I think I miss the most, the camaraderie with the coaches. The second thing would be getting to know the younger girls, because as a teacher of sophomores, juniors, seniors,
I don't really see them till then.
Yeah, and I don't really even, names in the hallway. I'll see them pass me, and I'm like, oh, I don't know their names, and I don't know how to get to know their names.
Kind of, or keep the pulse on. You can't when you're coaching them, you kind of see them all the way through. You kind of know them.
Yes.
But you know what? That's you earned your time. You definitely earned your time. So you did, and you guys did a phenomenal job. So.
Well, thanks. It was a lot of work, but it was fun too.
Yeah. Well, you've also been the National Honor Society sponsor for a long time.
Yes, I retired from that. Last year was my last year, or my first year of not being in the Honor Society sponsor. I started that in 1997, and it was just one of those things where I thought, again, it just felt like the right time to step back. I'd been in it 25 years and went, okay, I think this is right. I really wanted it to be different than when I took over. It was, here you go, you're the National Honor Society sponsor. Here it is on your contract. Okay. I'm like, okay, we've had National Honor Society before, but there was no notes. There was no, here we usually do this. There was nothing, no anything. And so, I just contacted National Honor Society, because we are part of that national group, and said, I'm kind of starting a new group here. It's not really new, but
Need some guidance.
I need some guidance. So got the guidelines, and even my officers at the time were all brand new. And one of the things we instituted early on was, you're going to be the vice president as a junior. You're going to now be the president as a senior.
Kind of work your way up, or just kind of transition up.
Yes, that way.
Some continuity.
Yeah, if somebody leaves, at least we've got a student who can kind of, hey,
help.
This is what we've done before. Doesn't mean we have to do it again.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, we've got Annie Sokol and Wendy Shatkoski, who are the new National Honor Society sponsors. They got it 1 year under their belt. And, I just told them when they took over, if you want to ask me questions, I'm right next door to Annie in classroom. But I also wanted to be, I'll step away, you do you, and, you run the organization as you see fit. The guidelines are all there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a big binder, me and my binders.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine
lots of paper.
me having a binder with stuff to hand off to them.
But that's a great way to continue that tradition and legacy.
Yes.
At least, and they take what they want. But again, if you've had a nice framework established, it's like, okay, this is easy to kind of it makes the transition a lot easier, and then they can also evolve maybe little things that they see fit over time. But
one of the biggest things that National Honor Society didn't start doing was the blood drive. And that used to be out of Vern's classroom. Yeah. He taught biology and anatomy and physiology, and he just made it kind of a part of his class. Mm-hmm. He started, he told me what year he started doing it, but they would go to donate blood during school, somewhere outside of school. And then they had the big mobile donor buses. Yep. And then that donor bus would come. And then it turned into in the gym. Yeah. And then transitioned from the gym because of ceiling issues.
Yeah. But it's back in the gym, isn't it? Or not?
No.
Is it still over at St. Bon's?
It went from, it can't be in the gym until we have a ceiling that doesn't flake off. Yeah. Because the particles, they just get dry and they're flaking down, and they can't have that contamination.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
It was in the social hall for a few years, and now it's moved to the St. Bon's Parish Center.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, which is a nice place to have it.
Sure.
But glad that we're continuing that tradition of the blood donation.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you've been in the chemistry department and part of the science group. Obviously, the science staff has been a pretty powerful group, or just a lot of longevity, a lot of impact on many students. Your impact in the chemistry department there, obviously. What do you see as the evolution of the chemistry department? I guess, if I can ask it that way, the evolution of chemistry over time. Because now, like when I was in school, we didn't have accelerated chemistry. That's something different.
Correct.
There's Allie was just talking about this last night, actually. She came home because, she's doing chemistry, and then there's accelerated chemistry.
Correct.
So I guess for listeners, maybe alums that don't know, what's the difference?
Well, when I started here, there was a single period called basic chemistry. And then they call it a period and a half, but it's every day 1 period, and then like every other day 2 periods of chemistry. And that didn't go over real well. I wasn't getting, people to sign up for the basic chemistry because you couldn't do as many labs. You need the extra time for a lot of chemistry labs to go well. You just need some time.
Yeah.
And so that's when it was, okay, can we give somehow more time to it? And that's kind of where the conversation started, is how can we come up with more time to be able to cover more topics, as well as be able to, get to those kids who want to advance a little bit beyond
the basic level,
the
basic knowledge.
Yeah, the basic knowledge of chemistry.
Sure.
But still have where, even if they're taking the basic knowledge of chemistry, they can do labs. Mm-hmm. And so after much negotiation, we ended up with accelerated chemistry as 2 periods every day. And that way we can do some longer labs. We can cover more topics. If you have more time, you can cover more topics. Mm-hmm. And so thus the name accelerated being, we cover more topics. I cover the topics faster.
Got it.
Where I might, a lot of the same topics are covered, but if I spend maybe 2 class periods with my chemistry class, I'm spending one or less with accelerated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just a faster pace of class. Thus, we came up with the word accelerated, you know, when it first started.
Do you see a lot of, I guess the ones that take that, are they looking, kind of showing that interest to going into the medical field? I guess what that kind of steers it towards them, or do you see a pattern like that or not?
Yes and no. I mean, I've had some who go into some medical field who take chemistry instead. I always encourage them, if they have that, to take accelerated, because my hope with my accelerated class is that when they go to take their first year chemistry in college, that at least the first half to 3/4 of their semester, they've had it.
Yeah.
You know, they might tweak it a little bit, you know, depending on which professor they have. But they really go, I've heard of this before.
Yeah.
Whether they remember it or not.
I remember that when I had my chemistry class. I remember that.
Yeah, so it's like, that's my hope with accelerated.
Got it.
In chemistry, you're going to probably run out of those topics about the first, I would say, month and a half.
In college.
In college. Simply because I'm covering those topics slower.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, I can't cover the topics as much. Mm-hmm. So it's not that you can't take chemistry and still, you know, enter the medical field.
Yeah.
It's that you're going to have a lot more study and unfamiliar topics.
That's a good way to put it.
To encounter in your first year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or I should say in your first semester. Mm-hmm. Because your second semester, you know, then you just add on. Yeah. Chemistry is a big add-on.
Yeah. Well, it is. It really is. Because if you can't get the base part down, there's no way you're going to advance. I mean, physics is very similar.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, it's very similar. So
you know it.
And for a lot of pre-medical professionals, a lot of the prerequisites are chemistry, physics. You know, some sort of psychology class. I mean,
yep.
You know, things that some students don't really think about. You know,
correct.
So when we talk to students that are interested in PT, I was like, well, you're gonna have to take a chemistry class in college. You have to take
more
a
than
physics
one
class. Yeah, you do, and it's a full year of chemistry. But I remember going back, and I felt, you know, like you had a somewhat base knowledge.
Yes.
But I do remember coming back with my classmates and talking to you about that topic.
Yes, and because I wanted it to be, you know, and that's where kind of we had conversations with the administration. How can we change this to make our students be more successful or give them a better chance of success in that first year of college? Mm-hmm. Now that I've added sophomores to the mix, it used to be junior, senior, but Nebraska standards changed. And so we now have sophomores
in accelerated chemistry.
And chemistry. So you can take it sophomore, junior, or senior year now. But kind of my fear along the way is you take it as a sophomore, how will you remember as much when you take it as a college freshman?
Yeah.
We'll wait and see, because we've just started that kind of process, I hope.
Okay.
You know, my first sophomores are seniors now.
So this will be the third year doing that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So we'll see when they get there what they tell me.
Mm-hmm. Well, but that's good feedback, because then you can kind of understand, and then
yes.
you can go back and tweak it, and hey, maybe this is a better option for juniors or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but that's interesting. I wanted you to explain that, because I think that's a question that kind of pops up every now and then. Like, what's the
absolutely.
difference between them? So this is great for you to explain it.
Students trying to decide which class to take are often confused about it as well. And I, you know, from the counselor perspective, I've given them kind of a sheet that they can kind of have. But I also say, well, tell them to come talk to me.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't taught them, so I can't speak to their particular level of you know, how their academic rigor, how it goes. But I can kind of tell them the difference there.
Sure.
I'll tell them they have more homework in accelerated chemistry than chemistry.
What about the mole money? Do you still got mole money?
I've still got mole
Do
money.
both classes
Absolutely.
get mole money?
You betcha.
Is accelerated chemistry mole money worth more?
Nope.
On the exchange?
Nope, not worth any more on the exchange. So straight up, they can give it as they want to between chem and accelerated chem. You betcha, mole money is still a thing.
That is a popular deal. Well, I just want to touch on this again, because you've had a lot of positive impact on a lot of the students who've kind of gone through the medical field or gone into the medical field. So, I mean, your impact on a lot of those is really important and really long-lasting, I guess. So as you kind of think about that, I guess, and you touched on it a little bit earlier, but, you know, when you see people come back, or you see, you know, alumni in the alumni newsletter doing this and that, that's kind of special for you, I would think.
Oh, absolutely it is. I mean, I remember the first time I knew a student was graduating with some kind of medical degree, and I taught them. I'm like, wow, okay, they learned something, yay.
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of clicked in my head. I need to try to keep in touch with some of those students and find out what do I need to do to make sure that you're prepared. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I still try to, are there topics? Even last year I was talking to a couple of alum that had just taken chemistry, their first year of college. And are there any accelerated chem topics that I should be taking out or adding in? Has anything changed in that first semester of college chemistry? To just be able to keep in touch with that.
Yeah.
To make sure that, I'm hopeful that our students can be successful that way in whatever field, and there's some fields, even if it's not medical, that require, hey, you've got to take a science class. Well, if you've taken chemistry, you might be inclined, hey, even if I got to take a science class, maybe I'll try chemistry in college, even, at the most basic level, to just, have a gen ed of chemistry if you need science.
And probably use your high school notes because they're probably better than the college notes. I know several of mine were.
You can only get them electronically these days because the binder had to, the binder I now pick up and grade at the end of the year.
Oh, really?
I pick it up and grade it, and then it gets promptly recycled.
Terminated.
Yes.
Terminated. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I actually, this year I was cleaning my garage out. I finally threw my physics binder away from college. I didn't take physics at Scotus, but I took it in college, and I was like, I can't throw I finally threw it away. That's a lot of work. But that binder in physics in my college is about as thick as my binder I remember from high school chemistry.
Accelerated chem, 4-inch binder.
There we go.
We're going to fill it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you've been at Scotus now. This, like I said, this is entering your 34th year. Pretty amazing, really. I mean, that's awesome stuff. As you reflect kind of on Scotus's impact on you, I guess, how would you kind of put that into words?
Well, you told me I was going to have this question, and I thought about it, and I started thinking, and I rethought, and I don't know how it hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in all honesty, if you'd asked me my first probably 5 years at Scotus, you're going to be here teaching 34 years? I said, are you kidding me? No. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
I don't know if any first-year teachers really think about, are they going to be where they are, for a long time?
Yeah.
But as Vern told me, I learned early you were going to bleed green.
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
I remember I applied for different jobs at different places and whatever, and got interviews and whatever. And
over the years?
Over my first early years.
Okay.
I did. And I had a couple of offers here and there. Never seemed like the right fit for me.
Yeah.
Never seemed like
something kept keeping you here.
Yes, something there was that tug here, and I don't know when I came to that realization, but it was, this is where I'm supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, the Lord hit me on the head and said, that's why you're supposed to be here, silly.
Yeah.
It's the faith.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be growing in your own faith and trying to help others grow in theirs at the same time. Mm-hmm. This is your vocation.
Yeah.
And that's really, people don't think about that word other than, hey, am I going to be a priest or a sister or a deacon? Mm-hmm. But no matter what you're doing, there's a vocation to it.
Yeah.
If that's the way you choose to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's, am I perfect? Absolutely not. But growing in my faith life has been a huge thing along the way. I know when I came here, I would say that I didn't have a true relationship very well with the Lord, with Jesus. I'm not even sure I thought about it as a younger person. But that's kind of been where I've really grown. Still growing, still learning, still.
Yeah, I think that's just such a lifelong thing.
It is.
I know that's been a thing for me in the last year with a lot of things that we've had to kind of deal with. You kind of lean on your faith. It's like that's the one, I guess, really rock that you have, right?
Yes.
Your family and your faith.
Absolutely.
No.
And, again, having my sister here, has kind of helped the family and the faith. And, my family, for the most part, is pretty close by. They're kind of your go-to people. But honestly, the people here at Scotus over the years, there were a lot of times when I would have a conversation with Vern or with John or with Janet or Julie or Gary, just all the people that I've worked with over the years just help make you into the person that you are, whether you think about it or know it or not.
Yeah, or even in the moment don't really realize it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just the Scotus family, Scotus community in the school building and outside of the school building and alumni and, it's
unique.
It's unique.
It's really unique. And you probably get a little bit of experience of that just being part of the volleyball staff for a long time, obviously being part of a lot of the success. They're going to get the Dynasty Award here coming up. I mean, you had a part in that, which is really awesome, right? I mean, that's pretty cool. And
John contacted, those of us who were part of it, the coaches about it. Yep.
Yeah, and I was talking with him last week because we're trying to set up a podcast.
Okay.
Via Zoom with him and some players through that whole era. So we're kind of evolving it, which I think will be kind of neat to kind of share that story. Yeah, yeah. So, well, I guess, the value of a Catholic education in your perspective as a teacher, how would you describe that or state that?
I promote it to everybody. Anybody who's thinking about where should I send my kids, consider it. Catholic or not Catholic. If you want faith, discipline, excellence, rigor in academics, extracurricular activities to go along with all of it, if you kind of want, I would call it the complete package. Not that we have bad public schools. Don't get me wrong. We have great public schools. But the faith just is an added bonus to it.
Yeah.
Just the faith that's shown by our teachers, by other students. I mean, some of the faith-filled students that I have taught over the years, I mean, it just oozes out of them and they don't even know it sometimes. It's such an inspiration to be able to see that. And if a young person can be exposed to that, maybe they can catch on to that way earlier than I think I ever did. I went to Catholic elementary, but then kind of went away. I didn't go away from my faith completely, but just...
But we all kind of wander, right?
Oh, of course.
And I went through, I grew up in Catholic school system, went to a Catholic college, you ride these waves of...
Oh, yeah.
And then you're a parent, and so I'm a parent of 4 girls, so it's like trying to set an example. And like I said, nobody's perfect.
No.
None of us are, right? We just do the best we can, right? But
yeah.
I think having the ability to, to pray and do those things as a coach, like we had the students pray before practice, pray before a game, and just little things like that continue to kind of bring you together, right, as one big community.
And it also helps, I can, put it in perspective. Is that what Jesus would like you to do? Just in all things, especially if a student is not doing the right things or being dishonest or, some of those kinds of things, that's not right for what we want you to do, but even if nobody's around, is that what Jesus would want you to do?
Yeah.
Can kind of, again, that whole faith perspective, the Catholic school can really give that.
There's been unique times. I just thought of it. There's been unique times throughout the school over the time that you've been here. When Chip passed away.
Oh yeah.
I remember I wasn't at school at the time, but I know Christy was in chemistry class when that word came over. She tells that story a lot.
Oh my goodness, that was. I still get the chills. When you mentioned it, and all of a sudden it was there.
Yeah.
That feeling was there of that tragedy that happened. During my time here, to a student, with a student, that kind of thing is just tremendous, and it was instant prayer.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of other events obviously across the world. So you can take that moment to, hey, let's say a prayer here.
Yes.
It's just really special.
Absolutely.
So, well, Columbus is a small town to some degree. People obviously know you're a teacher at Scotus. You've coached at Scotus. I guess, so people, people see in the community, hey, you teach at Scotus, right? I guess what makes you proud when you can kind of say, yeah, I do?
I think, when people ask me about teaching at Scotus, why'd you stay here so long? It's all about the excellence that, I feel like it's expected of me. And so I try to do the best work that I can possibly do within my personal gifts and limitations, because we know that there's both in everybody. But the rigor of our academics, the athletics, the the fine arts that we have, the wide range of things that all go along with our faith. Just, it's, when I say that I'm a teacher at Scotus, it's a very proud thing for me to say. A little humbling, at times when I look at all of the students that have come out of here, that I've taught them, and they're doing wonderfully in life, and all those kind of things, and they're very prayerful, or they're trying to find themselves in their faith, wherever they're at in their life. Just to know that I've been a part of that. Apparently when the Holy Spirit guided me to Scotus, it was for a lot of reasons, I guess. Yeah. And just there's a lot of things go on here that just make you proud.
Yeah. It's worked out well for you.
It really has.
Yeah. I know. Well, before we get to the last question here, but I know, when Chrissy and I are out running, or we don't run as much as we used to, but it was always on our regular loop. Then we'd say, "Oh, there's Ms. Dusel and there's John." Just kind of cross each other's paths. I mean, so it's kind of cool to kind of have that relationship out. Now that we're adults, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, I'm the big walker. I can't jog anymore. My body doesn't like that anymore. But I'm out walking, and I have lots of people who say, "Saw you walking," and I apologize to those who I don't wave at. I try. But
you're kind of zoned in that way too. You're just kind of zoned in.
You can't always see in the car, or the car's passing you by, and
honking and waving. You're like, I'm not sure if I should wave at that person.
Hey, I saw you walking. Okay, yep, you probably did.
So that's awesome. Well, the question we always end up with, and I always like to hear the different responses. Describe Scotus Central Catholic in one word.
The first word that came into my head was excellence. Just in all things, we try to strive to do what we can with our gifts, and just be as excellent as we can every day in whatever we're doing.
Yeah. That sums it up right there. Well, you did a great job. This was great. I'm glad we got you in here because, like I said, I think it's great to have your story out there, your impact on so many students. So thanks for making this work today.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking me. I appreciate it.
Well, like I said, I think this is the first time I called you Jane, so I don't know if I'll do that again. But no, thanks again. Thanks for everything you've done for Scotus and Columbus Catholic Schools.
Welcome. Thank you as well.
Yeah. Well, if you're interested in hearing more Shamrock Green Room episodes, subscribe to us and rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Make sure to follow us on our social media channels, Scotus Central Catholic on Facebook, X, and YouTube, and Columbus Catholic Schools on Instagram. If you have some ideas for some guests on the podcast, please email me at coachperez@gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us in the Shamrock Green Room.